Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Global Education Study Abroad Virtual Expo. It's a Friday evening in South Africa and Zimbabwe. I know it's a late one for me here in Perth in Western Australia. And we've got Annie from the University of Surrey here, who's in the United Kingdom. We'd like to sort of do a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the intros. For everybody watching tonight, this webinar is recorded and we will be sharing it with everybody that signed up, with the various schools around South Africa and Zimbabwe. If you do have a parent or friend or another school in another country that would like to see it, please do email me and we'll gladly share the recording with you as well. And as always, your questions in the Q&A box and the chat box, and we'll get to that at the end when we have a little discussion and we put Annie on the spot. So without further ado, Annie works with us at the University of Surrey. She is the university representative that we work with on a day-to-day basis. She's been fantastic to deal with, and she really looks after the student side of counseling and deciding on where you should go. We always say, choose what you want to study first and then find the location where you want to embark on that journey. So Annie, the floor is yours, and we'll chat at the end.
Thank you so much, George, for that very, very warm introduction. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much and good evening, everyone. I really appreciate you taking time out of your Friday night plans to be listening to me here today. We'll keep it a fairly brief presentation, so there's plenty of time for questions at the end. And please do not be shy about asking any queries that you might have. So like George was saying, choosing that degree is absolutely central to your plans, whether you're considering, studying abroad in potentially multiple destinations and multiple universities. Having that clear degree in mind is absolutely vital. And then it's sort of thinking about what will that degree bring you and what else will you be engaging with during your time with us. So here at Surrey, we're a campus-based university, which means that you'll be studying, living in the same place, and by the very nature of that, hopefully having plenty of opportunities at your fingertips. So we are based in Guildford, which is the blue dot on your screen at the moment. Is conveniently located between both Heathrow and Gatwick Airport, but also really close to London, at just over 30 minutes from central London by train. And this is a picture of our campus here, our lovely green campus. It's built around the cathedral here in Guildford. It has a lake, obviously lots of space to be able to sit out and enjoy the sunshine, which we actually have this evening, which makes a nice change. And we've got our library that's open 24/7. We've got our accommodation and lots of support facilities for you here as well. So as I say, the fact that you'll be both learning and living in this same space means that you really can make the most of all of those opportunities. Everything is so closely located, but ultimately it's a really safe and very welcoming community for you. And then we have our Manor Park campus. This is only actually a 10-minute walk from our Stag Hill campus. They're very close by. And there's conveniently a supermarket in the middle of the two campuses. There's a bus route as well if you don't fancy the walk one day. And here on our Manor Park campus is for all of those sports lovers. So we have a fantastic sports park facility. And again, it's really easy to get into the Guildford Town Centre, which is where quite a few of our students might look for part-time work, for example. Okay, so what is in Guildford as a town? Well, again, it has an excellent reputation for being a really safe place. It has a very low crime rate in the UK, and there's lots of cultural venues too. So we have a very diverse community here, not just from our student population, but from the population of Guildford as the town itself. There are lots of great schools, lots of great job opportunities, which attracts lots of people to the area. And there are lovely things like fresh fruit and veg markets every week, as well as lots of nice places to enjoy the outdoors, from our castle grounds to the Riverway, which runs through the town centre. So coming on to those all-important study options, what could you be studying here with us at Surrey? Well, in terms of our rankings, we've done really well in terms of our UK rankings for many subjects, from lots of engineering to computer science to food science, and hospitality and tourism is where we really stand out. So we are first in the UK and third in the world for hospitality and tourism. So any of you budding event, tourism, hospitality management students, Surrey really is a standout destination for that. But we offer so many other programs as well, and all of them are tailored TEF Gold accredited, which means that the teaching and excellence framework that we use in terms of the delivery of our programs, but also how we assess and give you feedback on your work, has been rated at the top, the gold standard for every single one of those programs. So you have that assurance in knowing that, you know, it's been externally assessed and it's at that level that you would expect for, you know, what you're getting in terms of your value for money. And we have 3 faculties here at Surrey. So we have arts and social sciences, health and medical sciences, and engineering and physical sciences. And the great thing about nearly every single one of our programs is that we offer a placement year. And that's really what I want to try and convey today, is about the opportunities that placement and internships can bring, because having a degree is absolutely fantastic and ultimately, you know, really will give you that head start when looking for graduate jobs. But if you can also look to gain some work experience during your degree, you really can just accelerate your career prospects even further and ultimately give yourself that chance to sample the career that you might be thinking of. You know, if you're doing a degree in law, you know, you could look at one aspect of the legal profession for your placement year. You might really enjoy it and you might want to do that, you know, until you retire, or you might think, actually, I'd like to change my options slightly. And again, that's why that placement year can be so valuable. So we've got placements in all 3 of these faculties. And we've also got study abroad opportunities, as well as the professional training placements that I'm going to come on to very shortly. You might want to study abroad, and this could be for a semester. It could be a year of your degree program. It will depend on the particular course that you're looking to study as to the partner universities that we work with. But what I would encourage you to do is to go on to the specific program page on our website and scroll down to where it says study abroad opportunities, and you'll see the partner universities. For most of our courses, we have several universities ranging from the US to Australia to Europe to Asia as well. And as I say, it will then depend on the sort of modules that you're taking as to whether you do a semester or even the full year. And often you'll have a fantastic range of modules at those partner institutions too. So it might be slightly different to what you'd have been learning at Surrey. And of course, that additional experience of sampling another culture, living in another country is so valuable to have on your CV. And there is no additional tuition fee in terms of that course. So everything that you pay to Surrey would encompass that additional study abroad opportunity. So again, you know, we really are trying to offer the best value for money that we possibly can for you. And, you know, in that similar vein, we have our Global Graduate Award. So this is a program that is open to all students during every year of their studies with us here at Surrey. And we offer the Global Graduate Award in 3 areas. Firstly, in employability, in sustainability, and also in languages. So the Languages Global Graduate Award is where you can learn a language alongside your degree for a couple of hours each week. And if you successfully pass a small end of year assessment, it will then be recognised on your transcript as additional credits. We'll state the language, we'll state the level. And of course, you know, it's just a really great fun thing to be involved with during your time with us, to add another string to your bow, as it were, and expand your skill set, whether you would like to learn Arabic, British Sign Language, one of the many European languages, or even Korean, for example. You know, this university really is the time to be able to make the most of those opportunities. And as I say, I would just really encourage you to think about not only the degree program, but all the other things that you would like to do whilst you're at university to fill up your time. And you will often have a lot of time to fill during the week to structure your time around those all important tutorials, seminars, lectures, and think about, you know, how you really want to get the most out of your opportunity. And careers and employability is a huge part of that. So as I say, we're very pro students looking at part-time jobs, looking at internships during the summer vacations or even Easter vacations as well. And the professional training placement is really, really the selling point here. So a lot of universities offer professional training placements. Some will offer them for a small number of courses, some will offer them for nearly every program. Here at Surrey, we're for nearly every single program offering the professional training placement. That is at undergraduate level, and for postgraduate, we also offer a few MSc programs with a professional training placement. So the professional training placement would be for 12 months, and you would get a lot of support from the word go, actually, in terms of being able to source this placement. They will not only help you in terms of the process in the first and the second year when it comes to looking and applying for placements, but if successful, one of your tutors will then come and visit you during that placement year to make sure that you feel as well supported as possible. And then during your final year, you will be applying everything you've learned and you've practiced on your placement year, potentially to your final year dissertation or research project. And, really thinking about how you can describe that experience you've had most appropriately on your CV to help you stand out and make the most of the opportunity that you've had. And the placement year could be fairly local to the university. So a lot of our students stay in Guildford, go up to London for the placement year. Or of course, you might want to work abroad, and that is something we would absolutely support you with. We've had students complete their professional training year in South Africa, and we're always looking to expand our portfolio of placement year partners. So the thing that really sets Surrey apart is the fact that we have offered the professional training year, or PTY, for well over 60 years now. So it's something that we have been offering since, we very first began as a university, as Battersea Polytechnic, and then expanded to the University of Surrey. We believe it's so important to try and get that real world experience, and ultimately be able to apply everything you've learned in your first and the second year of your degree, see that in action. So apply what you've just learned and see, how it all really comes together, and then be able to have that extra experience for your final year. Not only does it boost your employability, but I think it really helps to boost your motivation and your skill set to come back, renewed and refreshed for that final year of study. And because we've been offering placements for so long, we've built up a huge portfolio. So we have over 2,300 partners, which is a huge number of organizations, and that continues to grow year on year. And in terms of its international reach as well, very much so. And the fee that you pay for the professional training year is significantly reduced compared to the standard tuition fees. It's just £1,850 for that professional training year. And a lot of our students receive a salary, and normally a very good salary, during that year, particularly if they are looking at placements in London, for example. It would be a salary to sustain themselves well during that year, experience that young professional lifestyle. And of course, as I say, some stay very local or decide they would like to go to the other side of the world for that placement. And if you're really struggling to narrow it down between opportunities, you can combine studying abroad, and your professional training year as well. So when it comes to the study abroad opportunities, and this was an example for a business management student of all of the different universities that you could go to. So you'll see quite a few in Australia, Canada, China, France, Germany, Malaysia, Spain, Sweden. The list really does go on. And this is what you'd see if you go on to the course page and have a look at the specific degree program and the partner universities that we work with. And again, it would make it nice and clear as to whether that would be for the 1 or the 2 semesters. And there's a huge range of modules. So for the vast majority of students, when you're looking at studying abroad, you would be looking at going abroad to study modules that are taught in English. But of course, if you've done something such as the Global Graduate Award in Languages and learn a language alongside your degree, or you have, you are a native speaker of another language, or are just very proficient in another language from previous studies, perhaps at school, or maybe this is your second degree and you previously studied abroad elsewhere, then, we can look to be really flexible and potentially offer you modules in the native language of that country. But as I say, the vast majority of the time, whether you're looking to go to a German or a Dutch university, normally you'd be going there to study modules that are taught in English. And it really is worldwide. There's a lot of support, not just in terms of how it would work in terms of applying for the study abroad, but if you're successful in securing the exchange placement, we would put you in contact with students at the partner university to discuss all of those practical elements, such as accommodation and how to simply commute from wherever you're living to the university and the campus itself. So there's a huge amount amount of fun to be had from looking at study abroad. And as I said, for most people, you can do both. You could look at studying abroad, perhaps in your second year, and then doing your professional training year in year 3 of the degree programme. So we have 80 partner universities spread over the world here at Surrey. And like I've just said, it is possible to do the study abroad and work. So some people will do that all in their third year. So they'll sort of do a semester of each, they'll study abroad, and then they'll maybe work for 6 months. But others, they do a year of each maybe. So study abroad in the second year and work in your third year. Both are really fantastic and great opportunities to look at. And as I say, Surrey is not the only university to offer this, far from it. So that's why it's really important when you're looking at your options to compare, exactly what you would be able to succeed in. Other universities will have different partner universities. They might have a slightly smaller or larger portfolio. And so it's really looking at what you would be most keen on and thinking about the support you'll have in terms of finding those opportunities. And as I say, because we think this is such an important opportunity, we want to give you the support from day one in terms of hearing all about these opportunities. And our careers service do an amazing job at supporting students on their placement. For the last 3 years, they've been voted best university work placement service. Our graduates have done ever so well. 96% have been employed within 6 months of graduating. And 40% of students who go on a placement year have come back from that placement year with a job offer, a graduate job offer at the same company. So that is a really impressive statistic and is testament to just how well our students do and the really positive impression they make when they're on their placement year. And the careers and employability support that we offer here at Surrey doesn't just apply to the placement year. It applies to any part-time jobs, any internships you're looking at, and of course your graduate job. We have dedicated careers advisors for your particular subject, and you can access our careers service for 3 years after you graduate. So for the 3 years after you graduate, you can still have those one-on-one conversations to talk about how your career is progressing, if your graduate job is what you were hoping it would be, if it's not, what other opportunities are out there, and how can you really continue to boost your skill set. So moving on now to life outside the classroom, what to expect here at Surrey. Well, as I said, because we're a campus, we have accommodation on site, and we guarantee accommodation provided you meet certain deadlines for all new students to Surrey, both undergraduate and postgraduate. So we have 6,000 rooms spread across the 3 sites. So that was the Stag Hill and the Manor Park campus, and also a slightly smaller residential campus called Hazel Farm, again, in Guildford and pretty close to the campus. There's a bus route between all of these. Lots of ensuite rooms, but also, a good proportion with standard bathroom facilities too, which are understandably at a lower cost. And the accommodation actually splits into 7 different bands. We go from band A to band F, which means we can cater for all of your different needs. Whether you're looking for your own studio flat, whether you would like to share a room with another student, again, we offer all of those different possibilities, and when you apply, you let us know your preferences, and it's highly likely you'd get one of your top 2 choices. All the accommodation is self-catered, so that's just something to bear in mind. Again, it really helps with boosting that level of independence. You're cooking for yourself, you're getting to know your flatmates when you're sharing the kitchen with them, but we still have lots of great catering options on campus. Of course, you're never far away from a good delivery service or our on campus canteens, and from breakfast through to the evening, lots of great options. And when you see the prices of accommodation on our website, it's priced per week. Everything other than food, understandably, is included. So from your Wi-Fi to water to electric, insurance is all included in the rent, so you don't have any additional cost to factor in for bills, which would be the difference if you were looking at accommodation in the private sector. We're really happy to support you with finding accommodation in the private sector, and actually a lot of students, if you're on an undergraduate degree, come your second year, would look at potentially having a shared house with other students. So this is just a typical room that we offer here at Surrey. It's our band D, so kind of middle of the range on the slightly higher price. Band D, it's an ensuite room, but where you share a kitchen with other students. And of course, you could just make it as homely as possible. And this is the full price range. So for anyone joining us this September, these are the price ranges that they would be paying. Oh, sorry, that just skipped a little bit quickly there. So yeah, as I say, they're the prices. You can see obviously it's quite different depending on whether you would like shared bathroom facilities or your own ensuite bathroom. The accommodation deadline is always in July each year. So just in terms of the timeline, normally for your application, if you're looking to join us for the September intake, you'd be making that application at some point over the autumn is what we'd advise. So, always happy to consider later applications too. And once you hear back from us and hopefully, receive an offer, usually you can then start to apply for accommodation from sort of February, March time. And as I say, that the deadline to do so would be July. And then you would hear about your room allocation in August and come and join us usually in late September. But for postgraduate, we do also offer a February intake. So only for our master's programs do we have a February intake, and applications for this February, of course, are open now. And your accommodation deadline would be December. Again, so we just adjust it accordingly for whenever the intake is. We have loads of wellbeing support on campus. We appreciate it's a very stressful, very daunting, but ultimately really exciting time, and we want to make sure that you can access any support that you might need whilst you're here. So whether that's from our chaplaincy, whether that's your personal tutor, our on-campus counselling service at the Centre for Wellbeing, or our 24-hour security team, there are always people that you can speak to, from either full-time members of staff, academics, to your peers, and we have a great peer support network here at the university. And there are some fantastic clubs and societies that you can get involved with as well. When we were talking about things earlier, such as the professional training year and the Global Graduate Award, clubs and societies only enhance that further. I think when you graduate and come to reflect on your university experience, the part-time work, the clubs and societies will be just as memorable as all of those assignments you've completed within the module. So that is why I'd really encourage you to think about all of those different things you want to do, and see university as so much more than just a 1 or a 3-year degree, depending on the different program that you're looking for. And we have a huge range, as I said, and I would always encourage you to look at the University Student Union social media pages, because that is a great way to have a taste of what it would be like to be a student at university. They'll be posting lots of images and updates about what is happening on the campus. So you'll really be able to see, what life would be like if you were a student at that university. And I mentioned our sports park earlier on at our Manor Park campus. So we have an Olympic-sized swimming pool here, a state-of-the-art gym, so many different sports clubs who train here under our Team Surrey brand. So whether you're a complete beginner or actually, almost an expert in a wide variety of different sports, you can get involved here. We have really competitive student membership rates, and you can come along to lots of training sessions and lots of classes. And again, it's just a great way to meet new people who you might not necessarily be studying with or living with, but share those same passions as yourself. And just lastly now, what are we offering from September? Obviously, really important in terms of the context of the pandemic. We're offering an enhanced hybrid learning model. So we're looking to keep social distancing in place wherever possible, and strongly encouraging the wearing of masks within our university buildings. But we are looking and are very excited to be reintroducing face-to-face teaching. We've managed to offer, a significant proportion of face-to-face teaching even over the last year with the various lockdowns, but we're looking to really scale that up this coming year for all of the programs. So the practical sessions, the tutorials, the workshops, they will be timetabled face to face. But then things such as lectures will be available online, and there will be a lot of support, additional supportive captured content. So things that are happening face to face will often be recorded as well, so that you can watch back over those when it comes to revision. And the same with the lecture, whether that's a live stream or whether that's a set of really short, comprehensive videos that actually are very interactive. It's been designed so that every program offers the best possible opportunity for you. And the reason reason that we're continuing the hybrid model is because the feedback has been so positive. Students have let us know this is what they want to see again come September. So we've listened to their voices, we've implemented their feedback about what can be improved. And we're really excited to be getting going with the teaching again in just a matter of weeks now. So that was a very brief summary from me about what to expect from the University of Surrey. And as I said, when you're looking at your university options, compare not just the university's website and social media accounts, but also the Students' Union, because that is a great way to sample exactly what's happening. And particularly when it comes to things such as the Moving In weekend, which will be happening at Surrey on the 18th and 19th of September, there'll be lots of great things for you to watch and hear from current students about what it's really like here. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but of course a huge thank you for tuning in and bearing with us on this Friday evening. Does anyone have any questions at all? George, do we have? Oh, fantastic.
I do. I've got a few. Really, I think I've been saying this the last webinar that we did together. The one thing I took away from Surrey's presentation was the support structure and the networking side of it. And I'd just like to stress that, it's something that I wish I took more advantage of when I was studying. Does University of Surrey, what happens when somebody graduates? Do they still offer that same type of support, that alumni network? What does Surrey do on that?
Great question, George, and absolutely. So I myself am an alumna of Surrey. So I completed my degree with there several years ago now, and have been fortunate to still benefit from a huge range of resources, not just as a staff member, but ultimately as someone who's part of that alumni community. They have alumni events. A lot of those, understandably, have been virtual over the last year or so, but there have been some really great sessions on thinking about if you have had experience of being an entrepreneur or wanting to become an entrepreneur, what support is available in terms of funding opportunities potentially from the university, but also that networking, looking at local entrepreneurs in Guildford and fellow alumni of the university and helping you to connect with them. And a new service that has been launched very recently is our Surrey Connects platform that we're really excited about. So as an undergraduate student at Surrey, you would be able to join that pretty much from the word go when you join your studies with us, not just in terms of looking for placement year opportunities and being able to connect with your fellow current students, but being able to get in touch with fellow alumni from your specific program, asking them about what did you do for your placement year, how did you find it, oh, I see you're working for a company that I would love to work for myself one day. And being able to get in contact with them. And we've set up a really informal but very productive so far 3 cups of coffee scheme. So essentially, we encourage you to have 3 cups of coffee with your mentor, who could be, a very recent graduate, could be someone who's incredibly experienced, worked in your aspiring career path for 30, 40 years. And over those 3 sessions, hopefully you'll be able to get a lot out of meeting with them. And, even if you've still got plenty of questions at the end, of course, that conversation can continue, or maybe you'd even like to match with a new mentor as well and find out about someone else's experience. So definitely, as an alumni, as I said, we've got that career support for 3 years, but this Surrey Connects platform, all of the alumni discounts, the alumni events continue in terms of a lifetime access. And if you're thinking about further studies, we generally offer a very good alumni discount on fees as well. So this year it's 20%. So if you've loved Surrey and just want to come back, again, the door is always open. And even just things such as, if you're back in the UK and want to bring your family or your friends to come and have a look around the campus, you're still part of the community, and we always want to make you feel as welcome as possible. So whether it's arranging a quick tour or a chance to meet up with one of your academics again, we're always really happy to facilitate that.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think if anyone's going to research universities, I think it's something to add on to it. And great to see that from Surrey. In terms of your own experience when you were studying, how did you find the lecturers there? Were they, easy to come up to, asking questions and things like that? Was there a lot of support from them and the tutors and things like that?
Yeah, really approachable, and I think the lecturers, the academics, they also recognise that the degree is a springboard. It goes so quickly, those 3 or 4 years that you might have with us, and so it's just about making the most of every day that you can, and making the most of all that, the fun stuff, the opportunities that we spoke about earlier in the presentation. And the academics are really great in terms of letting you know about those opportunities, because there is so much that you could possibly do. It's really hard to know exactly what's going on and when, and exactly how can you get involved. So, I mean, personally, within my department, so I was in the School of Literature and Languages. It was quite a small department compared to other ones here at Surrey, but regardless of the size of department, I had, friends on business and engineering, which are far larger departments, and had an almost identical experience. They are really approachable. So every academic will have set office hours, normally for a couple of hours each week, where they have a completely open door policy. So whether that's a video call on Teams, whether that's a physical knock at the door now that things are reopening, they're available for any questions you might have. Maybe there was something that was said in a seminar or a lecture that you just didn't quite understand. Maybe you've been doing some further reading yourself and have found, a really interesting point of view that counteracts something you'd been looking at earlier on, and would just like to debate or discuss that with them. Or whether it's on a more personal level, you're looking for them to be a reference for one of your job applications, or you would like to know about their personal experience. Maybe you're thinking about going into further study or academia one day, and they are very relatable people. We have a lot of international academics as well as UK based academics, and they bring such a wealth of knowledge and expertise. But I think ultimately staff who come to work at Surrey very much do it because they care about teaching and they care about their students, and so they want to look after you as best they can. And one academic that you would have even more contact with is your personal tutor. So you'll find out who your personal tutor is during the first couple of weeks. And then you would meet with them at least every semester, if not more often. And they're there not just for those queries on the academic side about, I'm struggling to choose between a couple of my modules, but actually, I'm feeling a little bit homesick today, or I'm really struggling to find accommodation for next year. Can you, help me with that? Can you signpost me to the right support service for that particular query? So yeah, as I say, there's a huge range going on, and it's just a question of sort of reaching out and getting hold of, as I say, any academic, but definitely your personal tutor.
Oh, fantastic. It always comes up in conversations with students is, what support do they get? One of the things that we tend to look at Global is, what type of counseling, mental support, all these things that are coming through now, which is fantastic to see. But if you follow University of Surrey, and I do ask everybody to follow their Instagram account, it really is a fun account to follow, and not just the student union ones, but the main account. I saw a couple posts the other day that were all about the mental support and the happiness style of being a student. Was that brought in pretty recently, or has that been a part of Surrey over the last couple of years?
Yeah, so it's definitely been available for quite a number of years. And I think, and I'm hoping I'm correct in saying this, but I believe that we were the first university to campus to have our very own, on-campus mental health support service. So our Centre for Wellbeing has been there for many years now on the campus. And in terms of the support that it offers, that's only expanded over the years, and we've brought in more staff to help our growing number of students. And, understandably, that the more students that know about it, the more that are able to access it, and ultimately, hopefully have a better time at university because of it. So yeah, it's something that we've had for many years, but we're not being complacent. We're looking to bring in new things. So only a couple of years ago, we brought in Nightline, which is a telephone listening service between midnight to 7 a.m. during the week, and it's run by student volunteers who are fully trained and very well equipped to deal with any of the calls they might get. And it doesn't have to be students phoning at a point of crisis. It could simply be that you've just handed in a really big essay at 3 a.m. in the morning, and suddenly all that stress has kind of come off, and you just want to have a chat with someone. And that's what they're there for. If you're really stressed out that the laundrette, was full when you went there and you just, really had enough after a bit of a long and tiring day, you can give them a call. It's completely anonymous, and just have a chat to people who have probably been in a very similar situation to yourself. So we've got that professional support from our, trained mental health nurses, and we've also got a doctor's and surgery on campus as well. But then we've got more of that peer-to-peer support, and that's something that I think has been gradually growing over the last few years, and more departments have specific peer supporters for their program. So our vet school is a prime example of where there is a lot of pastoral support through, the very demanding nature of the program. They're always looking to increase the offering that they have in terms of that support for emotional well-being, and of course physical well-being as well, making sure you're not physically burnt out from a very tiring but very rewarding program.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see that. Annie, a lot of students have been asking us if they are looking at the future and the job market in the future, and what they should study to be into that STEM sort of world. What does Surrey offer in terms of looking at the future, and which sort of degrees should people be looking at if they're looking at more the technology side of things?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a few really exciting programs that I would love to study personally. I would be signing up. If I'd done an engineering degree, I would be straight on some of these. So, in terms of an undergraduate level, I mean, there's such a huge range of STEM programs, and I think they really are very transferable. So we have graduates from physics, from maths, from electronic engineering alike, all going for fantastic data analyst graduate roles, as an example. Often companies are looking for you to have that confidence, usually in terms of a mathematical ability, and to then be able to apply that. And often through the placement year is where you might be able to slightly divert your career path. So even if your degree isn't specifically, looking at computer science, coding, artificial intelligence, you can perhaps get a placement year where you're looking to build that experience alongside your degree in, say, medicinal chemistry. And then when it comes to that graduate job, you have the two opportunities side by side in parallel to really be able to decide exactly what you'd like to go on. And I mean, personally, I would say some growing areas, of course, are artificial intelligence and the robotics within that. We have a fantastic centre for vision, speech and signal processing. So in terms of, image recognition, when you're putting into Google Images and what's coming up, when it's coming up with other suggested images, that's a computer intelligence that is putting that together. And that's something that Surrey is really at the forefront of in terms of research, also at the forefront of things such as 6G communications. And then another quite interesting area is fintech. So, financial technologies, cryptocurrencies. We've just recently launched a master's in fintech and policy. And this is aimed at graduates potentially from not just finance, but also law backgrounds, who are maybe looking to focus on the ethics and the compliance of these cryptocurrencies and the fintech trading era. So it's really interesting to see how, not just careers, but the world as a whole is developing. And I think it's highly likely that a lot of graduates over the next 4 or 5 years will be going on to jobs that today don't even exist. They're constantly being invented as the technology improves. And so just having that really solid underpinning of a very strong discipline, potentially within STEM, but potentially something as transferable as accountancy or law as well, really prepares students well. And I think if they're asking these sorts of questions now, they're very much ahead of the game, and it's definitely the right mindset to be having.
That's brilliant, Annie, and food for thought for everybody listening in on this webinar as well. And if you are listening to the recording, do Google future job prospects and just have you can see some of the changes that come up on that. It's always fascinates me that. Has anybody got any questions for us? We've got Annie on for a little bit longer here, and I'm cognizant of the fact that it is a Friday night. So I know you're all probably itching to get the night going in South Africa. And so if that's any more questions, Raf and Pano, I know you're listening in on the webinar. Pano is from our Johannesburg office, and Raf from the Zimbabwe office. I know they're attentively listening. Annie, I think you've covered everything.
Okay.
As always,
No problem. Well, it's been great. Thank you so much for having me, George. And as you said, always more than happy to be contacted on a one-to-one basis. If you think of anything, if you're watching this recording and suddenly have a question, I'm only an email, a text message away. Please don't hesitate to get in contact. You've got Global's details on the screen there, and hopefully it won't be too much longer until I'm coming back out in person and delivering this session face to face and being able to meet you and hear all about your amazing plans and prospects for the future and all those inventive careers that you've been looking at in the meantime.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just putting the contact details on there for anybody that is listening in on this. Please email us at info-global, or even my email, which is george@global-education.co.za, and we'll get you in touch with Annie straight away. She's more than comfortable to have a conversation with you directly, and we're one big family at Global, so please don't be shy and get the right information. It's the best advice I can give you as well. We just got a Q&A. Awesome. I'm happy to keep taking it if you are.
Yeah, absolutely. More than happy to. So a great question from Hannah about pre-masters options. Really interesting option. So we have pre-masters available through our pathway provider called Study Group here at the University of Surrey. Oh, my camera's just gone out of focus. I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on again. Hopefully that'll sort itself out. Yeah, much better. So our pre-masters typically would be a semester in duration, and normally they would be face-to-face, but certainly at the moment they're looking to offer additional flexibility, perhaps either with a blended approach of starting online and then traveling a little bit later, or potentially even maybe a fully online version. But what I would very much encourage you to do is to speak to them directly. So we are looking to have pre-masters options both on the February and the September postgraduate intake, but I mean, depending on what you've studied beforehand, you may well be eligible for direct entry. So if you're just slightly off our, typically we'd ask for a 2-2 honours degree. If you're just slightly off that but have a huge range of work experience, you may be eligible for direct entry. So please don't hesitate to get in contact with the team at Global. We can assess your eligibility. If it needs to be a pre-masters, absolutely no problem at all. We can get you in contact with the team there. But as I say, I would expect certainly from next year it to become much more face-to-face only. But for this kind of up and coming intake, you might be able to get them to agree to an online only option. And for the main degree, that's not something we offer at Surrey. Sadly, it would be face-to-face now that things are improving again. But yeah, for the pre-masters, a little bit more flexibility.
And Hannah as well, we're connected with Study Groups. I'll just put that in the text with you as well. They're one of our partners, and we work with all of the major 4 partners in the UK as well, just because we know about the education system in South Africa and Zimbabwe. And sometimes with the UK, you need to do a pre-masters or a foundation course to get you into that first year as well. So please do reach out to us. We can have that one-to-one conversation with you. I've just noticed a couple people dropped out, and a few people that are new here that I didn't see. Blessing, if you've got any questions for us, let us know. I will share the recording with you, and we can have a further conversation if you'd like. Thanks, Hannah. Really appreciate your question.
Yes.
Cool. So if that's everybody, Hannah, have a lovely Friday evening. Thank you again for your time. And we will share this recording after this webinar. So please, anybody like to get in touch, we're always here. Thank you.
Great. Have a lovely Friday, everyone. Speak to you again soon. Thanks, George. Take care.
Oh, I forgot to mention, there's a survey at the end of this webinar. So if you'd like to give us some feedback, please do let us know. Annie, it's one of the new things that we're doing. So really good feedback for everybody.
Brilliant. I'll look out for it. Take care.